Hi, my name's Ray Wells. I work for Stork. I'm an operations manager. I'm going to talk to you today about the life-saving rule confined space. The first category I'm going to speak about is the isolations for entering a confined space. So when you get issued a permit, you get an isolation cert to ensure you that that confined space is being isolated for entry. The guys get the cert and they'll check through that cert. There's also responsibility for the guys to check round the confined space as well to make sure that those isolations are in place. That's very important. The next phase is, have you got a standby man present at the confined space? The standby man is important because he's a man with eyes on for the guys that's in that confined space. He's your go-to man if you're needing anything within there. It's his responsibility to make sure that he records who's going in, who's coming out, reporting to the control room, who's in and who's out, and make sure everything's running sweet within that confined space. The next topic we'll talk about is the gas test. You know, the atmosphere. Is the atmosphere safe? Is it sweet to put people into that confined space? This is a really important one as well. The reason being that we need to make sure we're putting the guys into that environment, that the gas levels and the atmosphere is right enough for the guys entering. A very important one, that. The next one would be a rescue plan. You always have to have a rescue plan in place at the confined space. Now, everybody in the team's involved in the rescue plan because us at Stork, we train our guys to do our own initial self-rescue. Now, the initial self-rescue is having your rescue equipment present at the work site. You know, you have your rescue stretcher, your resuscitator, your 35-minute sets. So we do the initial self-rescue for people out of the confined space if we've got an injured party. So we need to take them out of danger into a safe area, and then your emergency response team takes over from that. So that's another important one. Everybody within the team must know the responsibilities for that. The next topic of the confined space I'm going to speak about is the BA equipment and equipment that's donned for entering a confined space. Now, this is of utmost importance because this is going to protect you while you're in there, and it's also going to allow you to exit the confined space in a controlled manner. So the checks that need to be done is your BA gear. Most important is there air in the cylinder. You need to make sure that that air is enough in that cylinder to get you out of that confined space in emergency. So this is also another responsibility as standby man. It's like a buddy-buddy system. You put that equipment on, you check it, and your standby man double checks it before you actually enter that confined space. It has to be checked and it has to be right before you enter that confined space, and it's down to you as that responsible person wearing that to ensure that is done. The last one is the authority to enter that confined space. Now, the standby man makes his radio check to the control room, lets the control room know that everything's in place, and that is the authorisation there when they come back and say yes, you're good to enter the confined space, and that is when you enter that confined space. So that's all the topics I can talk about when it comes to the confined space. My personal experience with confined space, I worked offshore for 10 years and I've worked in confined spaces myself. A very eerie place to be. It's part of the job. My main focus on that is to make sure that we give our personnel the right equipment for entering a confined space, the right training to enter a confined space, and to ensure they're going to be safe and they know how to exit that confined space in an emergency. So for me, it's about the training and the experience before we put somebody into that confined space. I've personally had an incident, not directly to myself, but being the manager in the office, I've had the call that somebody's been hurt in a confined space. And hence the reason that I thrive to ensure that our guys are experienced before they actually go out into a confined space to do the work that we're asking them to do. Me personally, family for me, you know. I don't want an employee getting hurt and I've got to go and tell their family. It's myself, you know. I worked offshore. I wanted to go home in the same condition as I went out on, and that is my drive. I've got a young kid, I've got a young boy, and I've got a daughter at university. I want to see her become a head teacher one day, and my little boy, I want to carry on taking him fishing because he loves it, and I'm also a skiing instructor, so he will learn to ski and go skiing with me in the winter.